I think it's, very early on in trying to understand the origins of this, SARS coronavirus pandemic. If you look at the epidemic with the SARS-CoV-1, it took over a decade to really get a full understanding of the origins there. And with the large Ebola outbreak, 6 or 7 years ago, that's still ongoing, the understanding there. So it gives you an idea of the timescale it actually takes to fully understand the origins of these epidemics. And so consequently, there's a danger there when we've got that, still building that understanding of numerous theories, then everything, so many possible hypotheses, because the data isn't there yet. And consequently, that can sort of maybe lead people down thinking different pathways of how this could occur, rather than looking at the most likely reason for this, which would be consistent with previous epidemics of, possibly an animal origin. And there's a number of different hypotheses, but I think starting with only one hypothesis that is actually probably statistically a less likely hypothesis compared to more likely theories is not necessarily, an approach that's likely to yield the best information. Everything needs to come together more in terms of, seeing the bigger picture and working together in that way, following the normal established methods of rigorous scientific study that we've had, going for a long time now. And in keeping with that there's that side of it, but opinions and theories are just that often. They're opinions and theories. They're not, necessarily aligned, with the main body of evidence. It's so critical that science can act impartially. It's not following a particular agenda, because ultimately we're trying to get a better understanding of the outbreak, while simultaneously trying to get a better handle on the outbreak. So I think that, the priority at the moment is obviously getting a handle on the pandemic, but as we understand the origins more, that can inform not just our understanding of this outbreak, but of future potential outbreaks and how they can be prevented. So it's a very important area of study, establishing this origin, but it takes time and needs to really, weigh up all the evidence. Theories start to abound. Oh, well, you've got a lab in that region of the world that studies that virus, because actually that virus occurs in that region, and then actually it can lead to these theories that aren't based on the evidence, but then start to point fingers potentially at the groups trying to yield a greater understanding. So there needs to be a transparency with all the evidence, but also a culture that promotes that transparency and doesn't lead to any groups feeling that if they discover something, it might actually come back to be the finger pointed in their direction, because it's a global disease and it requires a global understanding.